And if you look at the person nominated, it's a stark contrast, even in terms of temperament, demeanor, just the grace that that office holds. You can have certain attributes before you become a governor or a president or a deputy. Once you become that, then you symbolize the whole country and its unity. And that's where the focus is.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to hear from you later. What is there to celebrate, majorly according to you?
For me, it is the victory of the narrative of one Kenya and the defeat of a narrative that was creeping in, a narrative that you can be strong in your region, in your corner, a narrative that you can be good as a region, and even if Kenya is failing, I think as someone from Mount Kenya, I'm very happy because what we have been trying today is leaders that believe that a strong Kenya is a strong Mount Kenya, and we cannot survive on our own. And I want to say, to tell everybody that Mount Kenya is not going to isolate itself. We are going to be part of Kenya. And
do you think Kindiki is going to solidify the mountain?
Absolutely. First of all, on the very minimum, Professor Kindiki has the intellectual bandwidth, which is very important. When you find the people getting petty, getting primitive, getting backward, it's a reflection of intellectual deficiency, which is Professor Kindiki does not suffer that kind of a weakness. So he has got the intellectual bandwidth to be able not only to unite Mount Kenya region, but also Kenya South.
What do you think was Deputy Rigathi Gachagwa's downfall?
I think it is, he took the path of trading in Kenya to win Mount Kenya. I think it is stupid and it's foolish.
Thank you so much. All right, that is former Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, and who is also a close ally of President William Ruto, who says that Mount Kenya is going to move forward, or rather is going to move forward integrated and solidified more than ever.
Elizabeth Mutuku talking to a number of leaders there, including Sylvanus Osoro, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja, as well as former CS Kuria. Then on your screen right now, you can see that entourage on Langata Road right now. Do expect in a couple of minutes, Professor Kithure Kindiki, who is the Deputy President designate, to be arriving at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. The traffic police are making sure that that particular entourage gets the pass and will be at KICC in a few. So even as we do expect that gentleman, just take a look at what so far the leaders were talking about. So let me start with you on this one. What Sylvanus Osoro was saying, let's focus on development, more united country, and that he talked about more development, particularly next year. Curious why he points out for next year and not as soon as possible. What are your thoughts on this as well, and particularly looking at what our dailies are talking about here? IMF dispersing 78 billion cash shillings loan, counties, which I know counties is really your forte here. Counties are crying, we don't have money here.
You see, Stanley, the challenge is that the politician will use the moment to celebrate politics and really to find excuses for not having engaged in development. And that is what one of the speakers there, like Mheshimiwa Osoro, is actually doing. Because even impeachment of Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua, you ask yourself, what really did it cost against development? And from what I know about this country, from how planning is done, to how budgeting is done, to how execution is done, I don't see where the deputy president, now we can probably say former or impeached, really stalled those processes. So in my view, this is coming up as an excuse, and chances that even the designate deputy president or deputy president designate will survive this, those chances are also very, very limited, because a politician will always want to find excuses. And I remember some of the meetings I went to while Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua was still deputy president, and even some of the narratives that or excuses that people were making both at the National Assembly and the Senate, that we were unable to find development because of Rigathi Gachagua. And you ask yourself, how? Because how development is done in this country is at 2 tiers. And we have, for instance, the Constitution of Kenya that has given us the Schedule 4, where we know the national government functions and the county government functions. It is not because Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua was deputy president that counties have gone for close to 5 months without money to undertake their business or without disbursement of resources.
Right.
And it is also not true that now that we have a new deputy president, that things will change, that the cost of fuel, for example, will go down, that the cost of unga will go down, that agriculture will spur. What we need to work on, in my view, as governments, both national and county, is to take note of government priorities, which are really leveled at 2 levels. At the national level, we have the manifesto of the Kenya Kwanza government, which really informs a number of programs, otherwise called BETA, Bottom-Up Economic Transformation Agenda, and they have 5 agenda items. And then at the county levels, we have the manifestos of governors, which are, coupled into what is called the CIDP, the County Integrated Development Plan. So if we can be able to consider that those are supposed to inform the development planning and processes, including execution of service delivery, then in my view, the politicians will fail to, will find no excuse rather to want to use such processes as impeachments for lack of development. And I like some of the questions that Elizabeth Mutuku is asking. For instance, that is Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua the only one who, talked about ethnic imbalances and all these things. And the answer to that question is that it is no. So this gentleman was probably used for certain, as a sacrificial lamb, for certain things which I don't think that Kenyans, other than word on the streets, and what we are now seeing happening at the judiciary, building up from what happened at the National Assembly and then the Senate, based on those allegations, then maybe one day Kenyans will really get to know why Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua was impeached. Because if you talk about corruption and see how difficult it was even for our institutional commissions like EACC to validate themselves at the Senate, where it becomes, you are being asked, do you have any standing charges against the accused? And the deputy CEO says, no. Do you have any, any alive ongoing cases against this gentleman? And a deputy CEO of EACC says, no. So you ask yourself, then why is the gentleman on the dock? So I think that we need to now, moving forward, to push our politicians away from these excuses of, impeachments and witch hunting, and really find proper reasons for development to be given to the people of Kenya.
Right, and just as you were mentioning that, I had said a few moments, and definitely the traffic was definitely a free flow. You can see the entourage has arrived at